Did you know that walking, you don't even have to be hiking, it can just be walking, is one of the best forms of exercise you can get? So not only is it good for your physical health, it's really good for your mental health. And that's what I love about my RV life. I can pretty much just walk out my door anytime and find amazing, beautiful spots in nature for inspiration and motivation to get out. And over the years, I've shared a lot of my hikes with you, both the really long ones and the shorter ones just around my camp. And a lot of you have questions all the time about hiking safety. And I'm not talking about long hikes, you know, like my PCT hike. I'm talking about just going out and wandering around the woods or the desert around my camp. A lot of you want to know how to stay safe. So today I'm going to answer your question. How do you prepare and stay safe for hiking or walking around your camp in the middle of nowhere? And I've got 7 safety tips for you today so that you can go out and start exploring and not have to worry about staying safe. Before I get started on my 7 walking and hiking safety tips, do me a favor and subscribe to my channel. If you've been here lingering for a while and you haven't yet hit that subscribe button, what are you waiting for? It really helps me a lot when you subscribe and hit the bell to make sure you get notifications. Also, if you've been around a while and you think you're subscribed, go ahead and check anyway, because people are getting unsubscribed for some strange reason. So do me a favor and double check. And thank you for being here. Hey friendlies, I'm Carolyn. Welcome back to my life living in an RV. Over the 6 or so years that I've been sharing my adventures with you on YouTube, not only sharing the adventures of my RV life, I've also been sharing my hikes with you, both the longer hikes like my PCT hike a couple years ago, and just the shorter hikes that I do a lot around my RV in the forest and in the desert. You guys always have a lot of questions about how to stay safe, how to navigate, how to track, all kinds of questions. I'm going to answer all of those questions for you in today's video. And this isn't just for avid, hardcore hikers. This is for anybody who wants to just get out and walk in the desert, walk in the forest, maybe do a little cross-countrying and not have to go on the crowded trails, or you're planning for your RV life and you're like, Carolyn, how the heck do you go wandering around your camp all the time without getting lost? So those are the things that I'm going to talk to you about today, and teaching you everything you need to know to be able to stay safe. So the first safety tip I want to tell you about today might be a little surprising, but the very first thing you can do to stay safe on the trail is to make sure you have the right footwear. Yes, footwear matters, not only for comfort, but also for safety. So let me tell you why. The 3 things about footwear that you're gonna need to pay attention to if you wanna stay safe on the trail. So first of all, let me say thank you to HiC for sponsoring today's video. They sent me these new hiking boots to test out, and I gotta tell you about them. They're great so far. So the thing is about boots being a safety item is that if you don't have the right fit, if you don't have the right traction, if they are the wrong size, they're going to make you miserable and they can cause injury. Injury is not your friend on the trail, especially if you're going to be going out there hiking alone. You need to take every precaution you can to make sure you stay healthy, you stay happy, you stay aware. And if you've got blisters, if your feet hurt, if they're rubbing on you, you're going to be miserable. You're going to be stressed out. And this can cause you to make really poor decisions. Trust me, I've been there. So why is the hiking boot so important, and what should you look for? So the thing about HiC that I really like is, number one, it's true to size. I'm back in my size 10s. I've worn size 10 my whole life. I did over 500 miles on the Pacific Crest Trail, and my feet swelled up a whole size. By the time I got off the trail, I was a size 11, and I've been a size 11 for the last 2 years. They're just now getting back to normal. So they're true to size 10, and the fit is really important. So when you're looking for a hiking boot, make sure they fit, but you don't want your toe touching up here in the front, because your feet are going to swell when you hike. You don't have to hike 576 miles for your feet to swell. They're going to swell on a day hike, especially especially if it's warmer outside. So you're going to need to make sure you find a boot that fits you properly and that is well made, like this Hycia boot, so your feet don't slip around, that it's going to keep your foot in place inside the boot so that when your feet do swell a little bit, you're still not going to be too tight, you're still not going to be rubbering. So you're going to be looking for a quality boot that's not going to have things inside that are going to rub on you and things like that. So the fit is number one. You're going to want to make sure you get a boot that fits you right. The second thing is comfort. Just because it fits you doesn't mean it's going to be comfortable. So again, make sure there's nothing inside that's going to rub. Look at the inside of this boot. Look at that. There is nothing in there that rubs on your feet. And I like the higher ankle boots because they protect your ankles if you're going to be going over rocky or tough terrain. It's a little extra support for your ankles. The reason I've never done ankle boots, at least in a long time, is because they're all really heavy. This boot is so lightweight. This is the lightest hiking boot I have ever had. It's super lightweight, and you want something more lightweight because the more weight you add to your feet, the harder you're working with every step, especially through hikers. We care a lot about the weight on our feet. So this is super lightweight. There's nothing inside. It's going to be comfortable. There's nothing that's going to rub on you, and it's true to size. The third thing you want to look for in a hiking boot is traction. And I have been wearing these since I got them, a couple weeks. I've hiked dozens of miles in them already. I think the longest hike I did was 4 miles. They have this synthetic rubber sole. Look at that traction. So I can climb up rocks, I can climb up boulders, I can step over branches and twigs, and it grips, and I'm not gonna slip and slide. You really need a good boot with good traction because the less traction you have, the more slidey you're gonna be, even in dry conditions. And that brings me to another part about the sole of the boot. You're gonna want something that is non-slip. And this has performed really well so far. So you need non-slip, not just if you're like going over mossy rocks and things like that, but if you're hiking in the rain or after it's rained, tree roots can be very slippery. Have fallen on my butt a couple times. So tree roots can be slippery, rocks and river crossings, and even just the trail sometimes in mud and slip after rain and things like that. So you definitely want a boot that has really good traction, has anti-slip, and Hycia, I gotta tell you, I'm a fan. Lightweight, really good, durable. This is recycled leather, which I really like. Really good, durable. And the best part is it's so much more affordable than just about any other hiking boot I've ever had. It's just $49. I don't think I've ever had a boot under $100, especially that performs as well as this. So if you want to check these out for yourself, and I think whether you're a beginner or you're a hardcore backpacker or hiker, I think these are a really, really great boot. You know, I've hiked a lot of miles. I'm impressed. I'm really impressed. These are really cool boots. And Hycia is offering my audience a 15% discount. Just use the link below to visit Amazon and enter discount code RVLife15 at checkout, and you're going to save 15% off this already great price. So be sure to check it out today. Number 2, make sure you're aware of weather conditions before you head out. You don't want to plan a day-long hike. You're going to be 5 miles out and a big, huge storm is going to come. It's just going to create dangerous situations, uncomfortable situations if you're not prepared for it. So just be aware of the weather before you head out and prepare accordingly if you're still going to go. Safety tip number 3. People ask me all the time, how do you not get lost? So I'm going to talk a little bit about mapping and safety tracking apps here so that you can not get lost. Number 1, always carry a paper map. If you don't know where you're going, if you're going to be on a trail and you can download a map, do so. Carry a paper map. Cell phones die. Okay, so even if you think I'm going to download this map on my cell phone so that I can use it offline, don't count on your electronics, especially if you're going to be backpacking. Cold weather drains batteries really fast. You just can't rely on a cell phone. So it's always a good idea to carry backup, carry a paper map. Also, though, if you're going to be relying on technology, there are a couple apps that I really like that you can download maps and also use their apps in real time to see where you are. The one I like is AllTrails. I really like AllTrails because you can search for trails in your area. You can download maps for offline use. What AllTrails doesn't have, I think even with the premium version, which I have, is you can't track where you are in real time. There's another app I have never used, but it's called Gia. And that does have maps that you can have on your phone, and then you can see where you are in real time. So it'll track your progress on a trail in real time. I used Guthooks. That's what it was. Guthooks has maps for major through hikes, the PCT, the JMT, the CDT, and Guthooks works like that, where you actually have the map and then you can track your progress. You can see exactly where you are on the trail. And I assume that's what Gia is like, only you can use it no matter where you are, and you don't necessarily have to be on a designated trail like the PCT. So those are two apps that I use for finding hikes, for downloading maps on my phone so that I can see where I am. And I gotta tell you, the biggest tool, the most helpful tool I use really is Google Maps. I can use Google Maps as long as I have a cell signal, and sometimes even when I don't, I can pull up the Google Maps app on my phone and it'll show me where I am. So that's really helpful. And if I can see where I am, then I can see how to find my way wherever I want to go. Here's a tip. Drop a pin where your RV is. So drop a pin where you've parked. Open up your Google Maps app, drop a pin, and that way if you do get lost, and you have a cell signal, you can navigate back to that pin. There are also walking apps. iPhone has a walking app, Android, there's a bunch of them. Just look in the App Store. I use, Under Armour, I map my walk or something like that. And I turn that on when I go walking. It creates a red line of where I've been. So if I get in a situation where I don't know how to get back, I can just walk around until I get back on that red line from which I came. So those are some apps that I use for not getting lost, for finding trails, for downloading maps. So that's safety tip number 3. Number 4, tell someone where you're going. So on any backpacking trip I do, or even a long day hike, I tell someone, I'm going out on a hike, this is where I'm gonna be. If you don't hear from me by so-and-so, send search and rescue. So that way you have a couple of safety things in place. Number 1, in case you do disappear, they're going to know where you were, so they know where to start looking. And number 2, by the end of the day, or a few hours after I'm expected to get back to my RV, if my friend hasn't heard from me, they know that there might be something going on. So always tell someone what your plans are, where you're going to be, how long you expect to be gone, and telling them what to do, who to contact in case you don't get back in time. Number 5, on that note, it's a good idea to always carry a personal GPS beacon. I've done videos about my Spot device. I still think for what I need it for, it's the easiest thing to carry. There's also InReach, and there's a bunch of other brands now. My Spot device, all it has is a few buttons. I can check in that I'm okay. I can send another message. I have a I need help button, and then I have an SOS where it literally calls not a friend, but search and rescue. So if you're going to be hanging out by yourself in remote places, whether you're going to be out walking or hiking or not, even in your RV life, it might be a good idea to get a personal GPS safety device like a Spot. It can be a lifesaver. Safety tip number 6, make sure you carry food and water. especially water. Don't assume, like today, it's a cool day, I'm in a jacket. Don't assume just because it's cool, you're not going to need water, especially in the deserts. It's dry, it's really arid. You dry out, you dehydrate your body really fast, especially if you're sweating. So make sure you take plenty of water, at least a couple liters if you're going to be gone all day, at least a couple liters. It's also a good idea to take some snacks. You never know when your blood sugar might drop, so take a little sugar, take some protein, Gorp, which is good old raisins and peanuts. Gorp is a good thing to take, trail mix, right? The other thing is you want to maybe take some extra food and water and supplies like extra clothes, some warm clothes, some cold weather clothes, take a fire starter, things like that, just in case you get stuck and you have to stay overnight in cold weather. So it's a really good idea to have safety supplies as a backup. So you should always carry a backpack with your beacon, your GPS beacon, with some extra food, some extra water, warm clothes, and something to start a fire just in case you need to, and any other supplies that you might need. So that's number 6. All right, are you ready for the final safety tip? Before I do, I just want to give a special thank you shout out to patrons. I put a poll on Patreon about which subject I should cover for hiking, gave them some options, and they chose hiking safety. So thank you, patrons, for taking that poll and helping with the direction of this video. Really helpful. And if you want to help me make decisions about future videos and you want more engagement, more community, and more content, go ahead and check out Patreon. There's a link in the video description. Finally, number 7, safety tip of all time. You ready? Never hike alone. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, I hear all the time how dangerous it is to hike alone. I have literally hiked and backpacked thousands of miles by myself. So I'm not going to tell you that it's unsafe to hike alone, because I don't believe it is. Sure, in case of an emergency, it could be safer to have someone around. But if you follow the guidelines, the tips that I gave you in this video, if you go out there and you're aware of your surroundings, if you have the right footwear so that you don't have an injury, you are mindful about where you're stepping. I got to tell you, when I hike by myself, I'm a lot more careful and a lot more tuned in to every step that I take, I think, than when I'm hiking with other people. When I'm hiking with other people, I'm chat. So in a way, I think I might actually be safer hiking alone because it's just me and my surroundings. So I am not going to tell you don't hike alone. I'm going to tell you, if you've never hiked alone, you might want to practice small trips first. Maybe take some orienteering classes, make sure you're comfortable with a map and a topo map, you're comfortable with all your gear. Go out, start small before you decide to go out and do 7 miles cross country in the middle of the woods by yourself. You want to work up to the bigger trips. And that's part of the reason I'm as comfortable out here as I am. I've backpacked 1,000 miles by myself. I've hiked thousands probably of miles by myself. So it takes practice. But just because you're not a hardcore hiker, backpacker, doesn't mean you can't do it. It's a great way to get out. It's a great way to get exercise. It's a great way to clear your mind and just be in nature. It's my favorite thing in the world. And I think it is, and I hope it can be for you too. Just be smart and prepare. All right, I hope you found this video helpful. Appreciate each and every one of you for being here, and I'll see you next time. In the meantime, be happy, be free, and be kind. Mwah. I'll see you soon.